Guys, you know that ATP is the major energy currency, major energy yielding molecule. Almost all the reactions which are taking place in our body require energy, and that is provided by ATP. But then question arises, how much ATP, how many ATP molecules your body requires for any chemical reaction? If you are a very simple organization, in your cells were too simple, I mean they did not have many organelles and they were not doing any complicated function, then of course the quantity of ATP which would have been required would have been very little. But what about the complex organizations like that lizard which is moving there, like us, like monkeys, vertebrates, insects, and so on and so forth? The living, complex living things, they require so much energy, and for providing so much energy, it is very important that they have a system which can produce so much ATP for that also. So, there comes the oxidative phosphorylation, which is different from substrate level phosphorylation. In oxidative phosphorylation, your mitochondria plays a very important role. In the mitochondria, there is electron transport chain, there are proton movements, and all these things give rise to a system which produce as many ATP molecules as possible, maximum number of ATP molecules you get. So, the invention of the oxidative phosphorylation will always be, or is always termed as one of the most important, one of the most significant event in the history of, or in the evolution of life. Let us see what actually this oxidative phosphorylation is. So, in the coming days you will be learning about the different mechanistic aspects of the process of oxidative phosphorylation. The major cellular component which is part of oxidative phosphorylation, where oxidative phosphorylation occurs, is the mitochondria, and also certain components of mitochondria like the mitochondrial membrane specifically, and also mitochondrial matrix, they play important role. If you see, I mean if you see the classification, the mega classification of life, of the living systems, you can divide the living organisms into three major mega categories. One are the bacteria, other is the archaea, and third is the eukaryotes. Bacteria and archaea are different from eukaryotes. Can you tell why? What is the major difference? It must not be a difficult question. Yeah? Yes, you are right. The eukaryotes have what we say a structure, special structure, or sum of structures which are not present in the bacteria and archaea. That is why we say the bacteria and archaea are the prokaryotes. What are those structures? These structures are the components of the cells. For instance, eukaryotes have a very well defined nucleus because they have a well defined membrane. Bacteria or archaea or prokaryotes generally, they do not have it. They have of course genomic material, that is why they are living things, but it is not into a well defined compartment, it is only into the cytoplasm. Similarly, other important organelles, membrane containing organelles like mitochondria, like Golgi bodies, like endoplasmic reticulum, these are not present in prokaryotes. Bacteria and archaea lack them, while we have it. And specifically mitochondria is very important, because it is the mitochondria which is responsible for the process of oxidative phosphorylation. The machinery which is required for carrying out the oxidative phosphorylation, which is involved in electron transport chain, which is involved in proton pumping, that depends that is present in the mitochondria, and then that depends for its functioning on the environment which mitochondria provide. So, if we see the living things around us, we see absolute diversity and absolute complexity in eukaryotes. You see insects, you see vertebrates, mammals, echinoderms, and so on and so forth. So, that so much diversity very much depend upon the invention of the process of oxidative phosphorylation, because it gives you so much energy, and for all the intricate processes which are taking place in this complex level of organizations, in these complex bodies, they need so much energy. So, they depend upon oxidative phosphorylation. Of course, this is the as I have already told you that the mitochondria, the structural aspects of the mitochondria play a very important role in the process of electron transport chain and the oxidative phosphorylation, and you will be learning about it in coming topics in more detail. What we will learn in coming days? We will learn the role of mitochondria, components of the electron transport chain, inhibitors which are modulating the oxidative phosphorylation in electron transport chain, coupling of the electron transport chain and ATP synthesis, very important part, and regulation of electron transport chain, and finally, of course, like with any metabolic process, the medical relevance. So, stay tuned for some very interesting discussions.